and how tightly knitted society raises one problem. As in all modern societies, the number of cases brought before the police and later before the judges has been increasing during my whole time at the university. But it was one little figure that dropped, particularly until the last 5 years, and that was crime against other people's honor, defamation of honor. And to me, in the beginning at least, that was a dangerous trait. Because if you translate that fact if you translate it into sociology, you could say, then it means that, well, it could be two things. The one, that people did not harm other people anymore, so it was nothing to go to the police with. But it could also mean that the other person didn't mean so much, that you just could ignore that other person. And I'm afraid it was the last interpretation that felt most natural. But again, and nearly all my books have a question mark in the end, again, it's a problem with that view, because now we have got lots of people from other cultures where honor becomes overwhelmingly important and often will hurt other persons. You have damaged my honor, I have to kill you. So honor is a dangerous concept, and to create societies filled with honor concepts might be a very dangerous way to move your society. So again, a sort of question of the balance seems here to be important. I forgot one little thing on this guards in concentration camps, and that is the study. I wrote it as a part of my examination work, a thesis. Magistergrad was what we called it, and it didn't catch on. It didn't receive any interest. 20 years later, it received great interest. Then I was approached, couldn't we be allowed to publish it as a book? And it came out as a book. And it's a relatively well-known book in my society. But why were there no interest at that early age? I mean, at that early stage? I think it has to do with, it was an unpleasant message here. Maybe to be a killer in concentration camp was not reserved to the enemy. Maybe it was, so to say, something that could happen everywhere, and with all sorts of people, also Norwegians. That was nearly unbelievable. And we, just having escaped occupation during the war period, we couldn't take it. But this again indicates how useful it is to operate with a category called monsters. As long as we could put them away as monsters, it was okay. But when I started to say something that maybe it is ordinary people, maybe most of us could kill if we came in a situation like these people I have talked with, then I conveyed a most unpleasant set of messages. But this message has been my experience through my whole life. I have made many studies in prison and outside of prison, and again and again I've been often, since I live in this little society, I'm often meeting other people asking, who are they? How could I do it? That monster. And I have all the time steadily said, after so long life in criminology, I've never met a monster. Never. And I think it's the best thing to expose that clearly we are not surrounded with monsters by monsters. We have to talk, and we are confronting a lot of people who are doing wrong things, and that has to be corrected and stopped. But there's always some hope. It is no monsters walking around that it is impossible to understand, impossible to start a dialogue with. To me, this is an important topic. Yeah, time is running fast in my attempt to say something. I could maybe say that I have, of course, written a lot on those who are doing unwanted things, but also a lot on the control system, particularly on the control system. Again, back to my earlier days, it was a surprising thing to observe that we had a huge population in something called houses for forced labor. Who were they? They were the drunkards who were drinking alcohol in the open streets. And how could they come in prison? It was a small offense to be drunk around in the streets. Yes, but it was unpleasant, seen from the ordinary bourgeoisie point of view. So we had to do something, they thought. And then they found a mechanism. And that was that you are not in prison because you have misbehaved. You are in prison because this is the only alternative. We try first not to place you in prison. We place you in an institution for people with alcohol problems. But if you don't behave there, we place you in a special institution. So, as one of the legal scholars said, what couldn't be conceived just in the name of punishment, to that cannot be objected when it is in the name of treatment. So that treatment idea was able to, in a way, get around the justice theme, and we got these special institutions. I wasn't aware of it. I was an ordinary Norwegian, but I walked in many prisons. I had a little study where I tried to ask people waiting for punishment what they expected they would get in punishment and what they would have given themselves. And then most ordinary, particularly thieves and small violence things, persons, they had a good expectation, and it turned out it was by and large correct what I had expected, what I actually got when I measured it to what they had said they thought they would have got. And they would also, if they had been the judge, they would by and large have sentenced themselves in the same way. A little reduction for old friendship, but otherwise that was the majority. But those people placed for treatment, they were violently against what happened to them.